Yes, my people, as e dey hot, e don happen. No, this guy wey they call David Udoyin, wey dey always investigate Tinubu, he don drop another one today. He say all those people surrounding Tinubu, he say they don't believe in Tinubu candidature. Make I not talk too much. He guy explain a lot of things and he expose many things for this video. And I want me to attack Tinubu see this video and make una share am, make everybody wey dey support APC wey dey see am and comment your opinion in the comment section and hit this like button. Make the video for go viral. This guy exposed many things when I watch him.
Even the current president, when he spoke at Chatham House in 2014, made some kind of an attempt to answer the questions himself. I mean, he might have spoken off point, he might have lost his train of thought a couple of times, but at least he made the attempt. This is something completely unprecedented. So, if they consider that to be some kind of a win, to be some kind of a good representation of what they think their candidate is like, then I guess it just shows you how much of a shambles the APC presidential campaign really is.
In the spirit of Tinubu's teamship, questions posed to him directly following a paper he presented at the think tank were found out by Fiat to surrogates. Reactions expectedly have been trailing that action, while well-meaning Nigerians stamped that teamship the doctrine as an abdication of responsibility. The APC spin doctors and handlers said delegating questions to team members is one of Tinubu's innovation. What's your reaction to this?
I mean, these are people who have demonstrated over the past few months that they will say absolutely anything. My personal conviction in all of this is that a lot of the people surrounding Bola Tinubu don't even believe in his candidacy at all. They just want to eat. They just want to get a share of the man's money, and to get paid, they will say absolutely whatever it is they feel they need to say, no matter how unjustifiable, no matter how asinine it is. They will say it because, well, there's a monetary value attached to them denying that the sun is hot. So those are the kind of people that Tinubu is surrounded with. He's surrounded with people who, and I say this not just as my own reading of the situation. I say this as someone who actually has had some kind of interaction with people who are actually in that circle, right? Either direct interaction or by 1 or 2 degrees of separation, and the sentiment is always the same. Well, what do we do? It's a job. People basically just, whether or not they believe in his candidacy, whether or not they actually want Nigeria to get better, whether or not they believe in democracy and having a free and fair election, the only thing that they're really interested in is that there's money to be made here, so let's make it.
Let me ask you, what are your thoughts on some of his responses to some of the questions posed to him? Some of these answers or responses seemed lacking in substance to a lot of Nigerians, just words strung together without communicating the issues, like the issues of security, for example. He defended Buhari's government. Your thoughts on that, please?
So again, that's classic Bola Tinubu. Rambling, dissembling, doesn't have a train of thoughts before you can even talk about losing his train of thoughts. Never had one to start with. Just opens his mouth and there's like this stream of thoughts or a stream of consciousness, psychobabble that comes out, and you cannot really make sense of what it is that he's saying. Clearly, this is a geriatric who is suffering from some sort of the neurodegenerative condition. Clearly, this is not somebody who is in a condition to preside over his own family, much less a country of 200 million people. But again, because he has some tukobo in the bank that some people want, they will prop him up. They'll keep on propping him up. They'll keep on pushing him out there to make a total fool of himself in public. They are aware of all the ethical and criminal considerations and behavior in his background. They are well aware. There's nothing. There's no part of this that is news to them. They knew this even before some of us did. And their only motivation in all of this is we need to get paid. And this is somebody that has money. He wants to run for president. And he's so desperate in his attempt to become president that he's willing to spend however much it is that he thinks it's going to take, which obviously means that we're going to make money. So that's all it's about. So this is yet again just another instance of Tinubu making a mockery of himself. I've lost count of the number of times this has happened over the past year, whether it was him soiling himself in public when he lost control of his he basically urinated over himself during a public appearance. And while that was happening, you had people in the background clapping and dancing and singing, Bola, on your mandate, we shall stand. I actually think the people surrounding him are actually worse human beings than he is. I actually think they are the worst of the worst.
Sadly. Let me also get your view on this. Questions have been raised about his birth, his academic and professional records, and these have always been shrouded in misery. He came out to insisting that his birth, academic, and professional records are consistent, and adding that his critics are only wasting their time and money. What's your view about his assertion of these facts?
Again, that's classic Bola Ahmed Tinubu talking out of his ass, basically. Sorry, pardon my French. Because these are not questions that have been raised, as you put it. These are not claims or allegations that have been put out. These are documented facts, right? These are things that he submitted on his own INEC EC9 declaration. So the documents he submitted on his own INEC EC9 declaration are forgeries. And by the way, that case is already in court. Those things have been admitted as exhibits in court. So, the fact that, somebody is able to stand in front of a microphone and just bloviate for 5 minutes, tell you, oh, my critics are wasting their time, my records are there. What records? Because the actual investigative work, the actual journalistic work and legal work has been done, and it has been legally established that this guy has lied about everything. He's lied about the schools that he went to. He's lied about the places he allegedly worked at. He's lied about his sources of income. He has told so many lies to the extent where even the forged certificates that he submitted to INEC wasn't even a well done forgery. It was a forgery which you can access within 2 or 3 clicks of an internet website. Basically a cheap internet service where you can fake a degree certificate. This was laid out very clearly in the story that I did a couple of weeks ago. So maybe, I don't know, maybe Tinubu himself isn't like the lights are on but nobody's at home, if you catch my drift. Maybe that's the case. Or maybe it's the case that people around him are just so despicable that they've somehow managed to convince him that his own lies are true, and that the monument of falsehood that he has built up over the past few decades, that somehow it's still standing, even though it has been forensically taken apart comprehensively. And this is not just in the court of public opinion, on the pages of a journalistic medium, but this is also in legal courts now. So this is somebody who should not be making appearances in front of a camera. This is somebody that should be preparing his defense in court, because he has a criminal case that is going on. And I suggest he takes that case serious, because this is not a civil case. This is not a case that is trying to compel INEC to take him off a register or anything like that. This is a criminal case that is trying to send him to jail. So I suggest he pays more attention to that, because all things being equal, if the law is actually applied the way it's supposed to apply, this man will go to prison. This man committed perjury on an INEC EC9. So it's not by coming out with the microphone to bloviate so that the people you have paid on social media will now come out and hail you and praise you. Nobody cares about any of that.
But despite all this, the APC, obvious plan is to cover up, so to speak, in glass, gloss, and foist on Nigeria's president with such worrying vitals. Should Nigerians be circumspect about this? Should Nigerians be worried about this at this time?
Yes, Nigerians absolutely should be worried. Nigerians should be worried about the posturing of the ruling party that seems to be sending the message that we don't even need or want your votes, and we can make someone president with or without your buy-in. Because if that is the case, then that means that the entire basis of an electoral democracy is no longer in place, right? And as far as the way I understand it, when the decision was made to bring in the APC in 2015, that was supposed to be an expression of the reality of multi-party electoral democracy, not the institution of a one-party state under a party dictatorship. So if that's what the APC is trying or is hinting that it has built up in such a way that with or without people voting for its candidate, that candidate is going to become president anyway, then yes, people absolutely should be worried. People should be asking the APC questions. That this is one of the most shambolic presidential campaigns ever put together. This is the presidential campaign where you have seen the national youth leader of the ruling party come out and basically threaten voters on social media. Came on the Twitter handle and basically said, whether you like it or not, literally use those terms, whether you like it or not, so and so person will be your president. What does that mean? Whether the electorate likes it or not, this person is going to be president in an electoral democracy. What does that mean? And this is the same kind of messaging that this ruling party has been pushing out for months on end. So yes, Nigerians should be worried, and more than just being worried, they need to ask questions of the APC. What is your plan? What are you hoping to do with the February 25 elections? Why are you so confident that you are going to retain the presidency with or without winning an election? What do you know that the rest of us don't know? These are questions that need to be answered.
Finally, David, what should Nigerians, in your view, do to resist the installation of this another royal president who will oscillate between the comfortable cocoon of the presidential villa and the world-class medical facilities of Europe and America, if they eventually they succeed in foisting him on Nigerians?
So I think it's twofold. First of all, Nigerians in the diaspora need to be a bit active in the way that they heckle their governments in the diaspora to make it to pressure those governments into making it as uncomfortable as possible for, even if a Tinubu were to become president, to make it as uncomfortable as possible for him to even leave Nigeria. Not that you leave Nigeria, go to France, go to Germany, go to Italy, go to the UK for medical attention and spend 8 months there, like our current alleged president did and keeps on doing. That no, instead, those people should, I don't know if it's possible to impose personal sanctions. Maybe there isn't a basis for that yet, but they should make it as difficult and as uncomfortable as possible for whoever it is who becomes president, whether it's Tinubu, whether it's Atiku, whether it's Peter Obi, whether it's Rabi Kwankwaso, whether it's Yele Sowore, whether it's Kola Abiola, anybody that is going to be Nigeria's president shouldn't be spending 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 months out of Nigeria receiving medical attention. Right, that the Nigeria's next president should be somebody who is either ready to work or drop dead. Right, either you're coming into work, stay in Abuja and do the work you are getting paid to do, or if you cannot do the work, your health will not let you do the work, then leave it for somebody who can. Now, Nigerians at home, obviously, those who haven't collected their PVCs need to collect their PVCs. Those who need to mount pressure on INEC to ensure that it speeds up the PVC disbursement process and they can get their PVCs before the election, they need to do that. I think pressure also needs to be placed on INEC to remind that organization that regardless of whatever elements from the ruling party have some kind of a hand and a foot in there, because they do, that you are accountable first and foremost to Nigerians, and that if you interfere with the will of the public, you will answer first and foremost to the public, not to whoever is trying to woo you from the ruling party or from any other political formation for that matter. So I think those are the two things that need to happen. And then, of course, most importantly, if you don't want to end up with a geriatric president who is spending months in medical facilities, then don't vote for one.
David, it's always been an insight having you on this channel. We really appreciate your insightful analysis and perspectives.